This didn't happen at bingo or we'd be in trouble. All right, ready? It's a great pleasure to be here tonight to discuss the important issues to South Plainfield voters and families. As many of you know, I was born and raised in South Plainfield, attended Sacred Heart School, and graduated from South Plainfield High School in 1990. In 1999, I was fortunate that Kimberly agreed to become my wife. Together, we were blessed with our sons, Harrison and Joseph, now South Plainfield High School juniors, and later our Beagle Lady. I was honored to be elected councilman, selected to be my peers to be council president, and later to be elected mayor of my hometown. My goals were simple: to work hard to make South Plainfield the best municipality in New Jersey, a town where families would continue to find it hard to leave, and new families would seek to locate to call their home, a place where businesses would feel welcome and become part of the community. To accomplish these goals, what is needed first and foremost is a solid financial standing. South Plainfield is home to one of the lowest tax rates as well as one of the lowest debt ratios in the county. Our debt rating was upgraded in 2011 and has since been reaffirmed twice. Our finances are solid and will continue to be so in 2019. We have worked hard to resolve issues that have lingered in the borough for decades. We have accomplished much in the last several years, from hard work to have a municipal tax rate that is still lower than it was in 2009, to building a brand new library at no additional cost to taxpayers. We aim to be business friendly, but will not permit abuses to our residents or put our police in harm's way unnecessarily. We have invested in public safety with the purchase of police vehicles, fire engines, to the rollout of the police K-9 unit. Tonight, I look forward to discussing my record and hope to earn your support so that I and my running mates can continue to deliver for you, your family, and our community. Thank you.
Three years ago, I sat here asking for your vote. I pulled out my notes from that evening, and this is what I said. I said I would concentrate on two things: holding down taxes and bringing in new businesses to grow South Plainfield's economy. In the 3 years since, I believe I've delivered on those two things. Last month, the county came out with the 2018 tax figures, and I'm proud to say that South Plainfield, once again, continues to have one of the lowest tax rates in the county. Earlier this year, when S&P Global affirmed the borough's AA rating, they pointed to the borough's, quote, strong management, strong budgetary performance, and a very strong economy when describing South Plainfield's finances. In addition, South Plainfield continues to have one of the lowest debt ratios in the county. As far as the economy, I don't think anyone would disagree when I say that businesses are investing in South Plainfield. In the past few years, we welcomed businesses like ShopRite, biotech leader GeneWiz, and the expansion of PTC Therapeutics, just to name a few. In 2019, we are looking forward to the grand opening of Ulta, Chick-fil-A, and more. I believe I've delivered. I say I, but in reality, it's a team effort led by our mayor, Matt Anesh. We're working hard as a team, and I hope you will keep the team together. I don't make a lot of promises, but I will make one. If you return me to the council, you will not regret it, because I will continue to make getting results for you and your families my top priority. Thank you.
Hi. It's hard to believe that it's been almost 3 years since I was sworn in as councilman. Throughout these years, I've learned to have a greater respect for government and that people volunteer to make South Plainfield a better place to live and raise a family. Attending events and meetings as an elected official, I have come to appreciate the dedication and time that our residents volunteer and give back to our community. Whether it's planning the parade, a glitter cleanup, a health fair, our volunteer firefighters, our volunteer rescue squad members, or our volunteers give their time to represent all of us on our boards and commissions, it all takes volunteerism. It all takes dedication, but most of all, it takes hard work. Thank you all of you for what you do for us. What's been learned over the past 3 years, I learned what people want from their elected officials. They want people who will use good judgment, and they want people who care. They want someone who will look out for them and their families. They don't want perfection, but they do want results. My priority is the same as yours. I want an affordable South Plainfield and a growing local economy. I want to know my family is safe when they leave the house. I want opportunities for your families, whether it's to walk in a local park or to go to story time at the library. Our team is making these things a reality. Can we do better? You can always do better. If you look around, you'll see the state and federal government struggling. It's broken, divided government that care little about you and your family. That's not the case in South Plainfield. I've got involved because our team is taking our town in the right direction, setting the right priorities, and getting the right results. Tonight, I hope to convince you that I will continue to be part of a team that delivers results for you and your family. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sandy Cooper-Doyen. I'm a lifelong resident of South Plainfield, a graduate of SPHS, and I have a Bachelor of Science degree from Salisbury University in Maryland. I've been teaching in town for 25 years, most of my years first grade in Kennedy School, which I love. My husband Tom and I have owned our family business, Cooper's Office Furniture, for more than 30 years. I was brought up in a home here in South Plainfield, where the love of South Plainfield and service to the community was modeled to me every day of my life by my parents. Volunteering, working on committees, and coaching were just things that we did. And what I have continued throughout my life and on many different levels. I began coaching Pop Warner cheerleading when I was still in high school and continued for many years. I have served on PTAs, PTSOs, and on many educational and school committees, too numerous to list here tonight. I've also taken many classes on improving community involvement and cooperation within the community. I've been the vice president of the South Plainfield Education Association for the past 10 years. I've worked tirelessly on issues facing students and staff alike. The experience I have had representing others and bringing people together on opposing issues to come to a consensus will be an invaluable experience to the position of mayor. My experience in business, management, and teaching all bring skills which are transferable to the position and would be an asset to our community. I am running for mayor because I am deeply concerned about the huge debt that we have incurred in the past 10 years, the many problems that will plague our community with the continued development of housing, the overdevelopment of housing, the lack of transparency in our local government, which I believe we owe to the taxpayers, and the horrendous traffic that I'm sure every one of you has had to deal with when you've been late for something. I know that everyone up here loves South Plainfield as I do, but I truly believe that it's time for a new perspective. I am confident that Christine, Sherry, and I can bring the real change to South Plainfield that we need. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christine Keefe. A lot of you may not know me that well yet. I've been living in South Plainfield for the last 4 years. I chose South Plainfield for my family after a kind of exhaustive search, looking for a place to raise a family. I'm a graduate of New York University, where I have a degree in Spanish and linguistics. I also studied curriculum and instruction. I've been a teacher in John P. Stevens High School in Edison, New Jersey for the past 18 years, so I've been working locally here. I'm married with 2 young children, a 7th grader named Sophia and a 2nd grader named Dean. And as far as my qualifications go, I've been involved in a lot of community organizations in my previous location. I work in Edison. I'm a teacher leader. I train other teachers. I participate and lead staff development training in my district. I also lead technology trainings at regional and national conferences. And the reason why I decided to run is because I want to make a South Plainfield that's better for my children. And I'm concerned about some of the same issues that Sandy mentioned, in particular the transparency in the government, and I think more people need to be involved. I also am concerned about the budget and the borrowing that has been happening. And well, we all know about the traffic, and if you've tried to get across South Plainfield, you've experienced it. And trying to run my kids to their various activities, I've hit it. We'd like to address all those things, and we think it's time for a real change and a new perspective in South Plainfield. So I hope you listen to us tonight and make a choice and support Sandy, Sherry, and I for real change for South Plainfield.
Hello, my name is Sherry Zwerko. Full disclosure, I'm very new to this and I'm a little nervous public speaking, so please be kind to me. I have lived at 129 Front Street for the past 11 years with my husband Kevin. I graduated from Thomas Edison State University. Hello? Oh, sorry. Should I start over? Okay, sorry. I graduated from Thomas Edison State University with a degree in Business and Fine Art. I couldn't be prouder of the 2 women the two running mates, Sandy Doyne and Christine Keefe. They are both outstanding women who are running for all the right reasons. I have been a successful business owner for over 15 years and know what it's like to manage a budget and not to spend money I don't have. I think the slogans of the two parties sum up our differences. Ours is real change for South Plainfield. The Republicans is getting it done. I respectfully disagree. A few of the issues I'd like to address are the traffic, especially truck traffic, is out of control. Living on Front Street, I can attest to that. The borrowing is a little out of control. There's no plan for overdevelopment. The downtown is being ignored, and something needs to be done. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, everybody. So we're going to start off with a mayoral candidate's question. When having to make a decision regarding our city, what guides your decision most? Your party line affiliation or the best interest of your constituents? And because the Republicans started, I will let the Democrats answer this first.
Well, anybody that knows me knows that my decision for anything that I do in life is going to be based on what I think is best. I will never make a decision because of political interest. I never have and I never will. South Plainfield has been a wonderful community to me, and I will make decisions that are in the best interest of the taxpayers and worry about the children and making South Plainfield the best South Plainfield that we can afford. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that's an easy one. Obviously, what's in the best interest of our residents, which I and my family are. Right? So if you talk about party labels, I mean, I think it's obvious. Look at the signs in South Plainfield. Our signs for as long as I've run for council, I've never mentioned the fact Republican. The Democrats are always telling you to elect Democrats, not elect who they are, elect the party. It's a little hypocritical. You talk about what's going to guide you, whether it's your party or anything else. Clearly the party's here. Secondly, the Republican Party, we know the Republican Party is very weak in Middlesex County. We're one of the only towns that actually has control on one of the only Republican mayors in Middlesex County. Ms. Doyen can't say that was a Democratic Party. They have power brokers that have been running the local party for decades. It's part of the problem that we've been clearing up and all the issues that we've been resolving over the last several years. So look at the people behind the parties, and I think it's very clear. You know, some of the same folks that are in the party in the last administration are still the ones that are guiding Ms. Doyen's campaign.
So this question will be for the Republicans. How much money has the town borrowed in the past 7 to 10 years?
So as I stated before, South Plainfield continues to have one of the lowest debt ratios in the county. Since Mayor Nesh and us, we've been working together. We consistently, on average, before we were in office, was about $2.5 million a year was borrowed by the Democrats. So they say they have a problem with it, but they did that as well. The difference is we do short-term notes as well as long-term notes. When you have a fire truck that's going to last 20 years of a useful life, you don't pay $1.4 million in 1 year for that asset. You spread it over a time period. A lot of the things that we have looked at as far as like police vehicles and stuff like that, they have 3-year useful lives. A garbage truck is 5 years. A lot of those are already paid off. So the Democrats' numbers, when they tell you this is the number of the debt, but they don't tell you the other side of the story of us paying that debt off. Okay? So one of the things that we're proud of is maintaining the lowest debt ratio in the county, but you also have to look at the county. South Plainfield municipal taxes has 22% of your tax bill. The county is $700 million in debt run by the Democrats. $700 million. You owe more, and it's only 15% of your tax bill. You owe more to the Democrats in the county in debt than you do to the municipality. And another thing is you also have to be consistent with that. You can't 1 year campaign for a $28 million bond referendum at the school, and then the next year run for mayor and say, I'm not about borrowing. So, I mean, there's a big difference between the two.
They talk about transparency. I think you got to look at their releases, and I encourage you to go back and read them. They claim that the borough debt has gone up 10 times. If the borough debt had gone up 10 times, the borough debt would be $120 million today. You don't have to, I haven't seen any warning. You don't have to believe me. Call our chief financial officer tomorrow. Look at their releases, look at the numbers that they throw out, and call the chief financial officer and see what kind of transparency in government you want.
Okay, well, I would like to address a couple of those issues. The figures that we have came from your budget. They're right here. And there was $22 million that have been debted since 2010. And not just for the things that you say. How about for accrued sick and vacation time, having to do a bond for that? And as far as the referendum goes, I did campaign for the referendum, and that referendum was supported by the people in South Plainfield. It was not 6 people making a decision in the back room. The entire community went out and voted for the referendum. It was not just me. However, all of these debts incurred under this administration continue. They just continue and continue and continue. So please don't tie me up with anything that happened 10 years ago with the Democratic Party in Middlesex County, because I had nothing to do with that.
This is a question for the Democrats. How would you pay for your proposed solutions to the town's traffic problems? Do you have a lot of questions about traffic, but let's start from this.
Okay, hold this closer this time. Okay, so we want to deal with the truck traffic. The streets we would like to work on and widen are Sampton and South Plainfield Avenue by Quick Check, Park and Maple by 7-Eleven, and designate a left-hand turn lane at Durham Avenue and Helene. These are all county roads, which we can reach out to our state and local officials to discuss the possibilities for funding. As some of you may know, John Polomino lives in South Plainfield, and he's our county administrator. My Uncle Pat is also the senator, and he is actually the chair of the Transportation Committee. So there are outlets for us to reach out to almost immediately to start the ball rolling on the traffic issue in South Plainfield.
And in addition to that, we've just seen how working with the county or sometimes with other towns can work. The traffic light on Oak Tree and Woodland Avenue, which it should be forthcoming very soon. We worked with the county and with the neighboring town of Edison, and it was delayed actually over a year, waiting for South Plainfield to pay its portion. But we are not opposed to any resource, any option. We're looking for new ideas, and we will reach out to every resource we can tap to fund road repairs through the county, the state, and through our local congressman if necessary.
First of all, Woodland Avenue wasn't delayed a year for South Plainfield to pay their portion. That was paid in 2006 when I was a councilman. So there's been a whole host of delays. You know, Councilman Vess is here. He could tell you what they were, but they really had nothing to do with South Plainfield's borrowing. All I've heard was the same thing, the same rhetoric we hear all the time. Go back to the grant tree. The grant tree will pay for everything. That's not the way it works. It costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars of county roads a year when we partake in these improvements. So if you're against borrowing, you say residents are being taxed out of South Plainfield. I suppose you're standing here, you're not going to increase taxes, and you're going to rely solely on the grant tree. That doesn't seem to be a plan for me. That seems to be a wish list.
Yeah, the other thing is you didn't say how much it was going to cost or how you're going to pay for it, just said grants. Just so you know, Woodland Avenue Costs $1.3 million to do. Okay? You do other intersections like that, you're talking up to $2 million because you have to purchase 7-Eleven, Peter Pan Pharmacy, and whatnot to widen those intersections. And they're 2 county roads.
Okay, this is another question about traffic that's for everybody to answer. What is your plan for the added traffic and increasing demand of fire, police, and rescue squad after the building of over 400 units of housing at Motorola? Yeah, let's start with
No, but I sit on the planning board. So just so everybody knows, when an applicant comes in front of town, and this was a court-mandated, Council on Board of Housing issue, the proper venue for addressing all of these items is, in fact, the planning board. If we go and make changes or upgrades to roads, upgrades to traffic, upgrades to the school system, who do you think is going to pay that if the developer hasn't come in front of the planning board? The answer is simple. It's going to be us. So step number one, as Mr. Morris, who, by the way, hired the judge that was looking at all those all the COA cases in the county, when he comes in front of the board, we are going to ask him, we're going to ask him, and the fire department's already done this. We don't have to do it. They're going to ask for a Southside Firehouse. We're going to ask for a whole host of upgrades and studies that are going to have to be done. It's at those meetings, it'll probably be 5 meetings throughout November and December, and probably into 2019, where all of those items are going to be addressed. Anything we do before that time, we end up paying.
I think also, I give a lot of credit to Mayor Nesh and everybody who fought this for 10 years until the courts mandated this coming to South Plainfield. They weren't expecting that, and 10 years fighting that. It's because the state legislature didn't act, is because all towns in the state of New Jersey, Denellen has to put 600 units up. Think about that, small Denellen. Forced on the residents, South Brunswick, 1,500 units. I mean, this is outrageous. But when the courts mandate it and then the judge goes and gets hired by the builder, I mean, you start to question that. So, I just think that, it's a wrong thing to step.
I mean, we didn't like to approve the 410 units, but we had to do what was best for South Plainfield. We chose what was the best thing to do. And as far as planning, and both parties voted for it, but as far as planning, the school board is looking into studies on how many kids we're going to be getting into school, so that's still going to be in the future.
I know that you said that the school board is going to be looking into what's going to happen. I think it's a little late to be looking into what's going to happen when we know that there's already 500 units at Celebration and another 400 and some units coming at the Motorola site, and there is no plan. So maybe we'll have a plan, maybe we won't have a plan. I asked that at the planning board meeting, but that was conveniently changed till after the election. It to me, to sit there and make it sound as though everything's fine, and it's not fine when we know that these units are coming. Where are these children going to go to school? If there's 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom houses, very seldom do one person live there by themselves. We are going to be in a position where traffic is going to get worse, where the schools are going to be overcrowded, where we just are not going to be able to, our infrastructure can't handle what you're giving us.
Okay, staying on that thread, I have a question for the Republicans. Why was the Motorola property not considered for open space?
Well, first off, the Motorola building was looked at in various ways. At the time, Council President White worked with businesses to come and look at that. GE was originally going to relocate from Piscataway and go there. They declined. Guess what? GE is out of Piscataway, and Jack Morris bought that property too, and is putting 1,500 units up over there. But when you look at the whole apartments in town, think about this: traditions, Highlands, Woodlands, Celebrations, all passed by the Democratic Party with no court order. Nothing. No plan, no nothing. So how can you sit here and say a court-ordered mandate that the Democrats and Republicans were forced to agree with, but you passed all 4 of those apartment complexes with no court order? In fact, you rezoned a piece of property with opposition from the town in 2005 from industrial to residential. I think that's a little hypocritical.
I was just going to say, I was all done beforehand. And where was the planning on the schools for that? Where is all the planning that was done on those buildings? We wanted to put businesses into the Motorola plan. We tried everything we can to get new businesses in there. But the builder had another idea. And he brought this up. We had to, the court ordered us to consider this site.
The other thing is we put $1.7 million into an open space trust fund into the county. $1.7 million a year. You know how much we've gotten back in the last 8 years? $175,000. Think about that. $17 million, or close to $17 million that we paid over the past 8 or 9 years to the county in open space funds, and we get $175,000. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, I think you got to look at every high-density apartment complex and condo complex that's built in South Plainfield, and unfortunately, it was Ms. Doyen's party. She can't distance herself from the party. The same folks guiding her campaign were the ones who were involved.
First of all, you don't even know who's guiding my campaign. Well, you think you do. But the bottom line is, we have to, whatever happened 20 years ago is not our fault. We didn't do it. We're looking to the future of South Plainfield, not what happened in the past. These kids are going to be coming, whether you like it or whether you don't. If the Democrats did it, if the Independents did it, whoever did it, it's coming. And to sit there and say it's not is just, I'm sorry, but foolish. You know, when you sit in a classroom like I do every day, and you see those little faces, and you know that the overcrowded schools are coming, it's a very difficult thing to do, because I think our kids deserve better.
And again, we were not involved 10 years ago with what was voted on in this town. And I also have children in the school system, so I have a vested interest. And as a teacher, I know what it's like in an overcrowded classroom, because in the school district I'm in, I have classes of 32 plus. I moved to South Plainfield to avoid that.
Okay, so now I have a question from the Democrats. Business is important to hold down taxes. What experience do you have to help retain or bring in new businesses?
Hello. I own a business in town, so I know the importance of running a business and managing a business and how important it is for towns to have good quality businesses in town. So we do plan on reaching out to certain businesses and seeing if they can put in applications for the downtown area and all around town to get like anchor businesses that will stay here for a long time and not just keep moving in and moving out. We want businesses like that will service the community and help people instead of just coming in and putting up a store that most people aren't going to go in and keep going in and out of business like a lot of the ones in downtown.
I think we have to do something to help out the local businesses. And I know that there's people here that have tried to start businesses in town and have gotten no help. I know that for a fact. I also know that we as a community need to be supporting our own businesses. We don't tell any, when people move into this town, years ago when you moved into this town, you got a packet that told you what businesses were here. You got coupons. You got things that made you want to shop and do things in South Plainfield. These businesses paid for that stuff themselves. The town didn't pay for it. And when they came in, they know, gee, so-and-so pizza delivers. I can go there. They don't have to look at their phone and buy something in Plainfield, but we just don't reach out. Our community is, I believe that we're on a crossroads here. We're going to either go one way or the other. And I just think we need to bring back some community to South Plainfield and stop worrying about the big stuff.
So I don't know if I heard wrong, but I thought Ms. Duane said phone book. I don't know how many of you guys saw phone books. I thought I heard that. I'm just saying. But the question wasn't answered. So I think the question is, what experience do you have? Not what is the town going to give residents. And by the way, we do have programs in town that are going to be coming soon that are internet based. But what's my background? I graduated from the College of New Jersey in 1995. I started in customer service in a Fortune 100 financial industry company. Still there today, moved into operations management. I run an operations team that does about $2 billion a month in revenue. Those are the people, and the people that I deal with on my second full-time job, that's the one that's not here, is dealing with those individuals. So dealing with CEOs all the way down to the individual business owners. And let's not make fun of folks that start a business in the downtown and have the unfortunate thing of going out of business. Every business is a tough thing to run, so we track every business opportunity in town and we wish them.
Okay, so this is a question for the Republicans. How is the town performing on attracting businesses?
Well, let me start out first by saying I've got 4 years on the planning board, so I have some experience besides my professional background in business, in finance. But what have we brought in here? Think of the AMP. The AMP was here a couple of years, has been here a couple of years. I'm sorry, ShopRite. And one of the new things that we're bringing in here is Chick-fil-A, okay? And I think everybody's pretty happy with that. Then we have Odd Lots. We have a whole bunch of different stores that have been put in. Dollar General is in here.
I'm just going to say that attracting businesses is so vital to South Plainfield because it increases our rateable base. So South Plainfield, on a budgetary side, has been able to increase our rateable base 4 years in a row. And that's how we're able to invest more back into our community. I do want to just touch on one clarification back about borrowing for sick and accrued vacation. In 2010, when the government changed the pension laws, we had a mass exodus. About 15 people retired. A $1 million payout for sick and vacation. $1 million. We decided to borrow that with the agreement of the others of the Democratic Party at the time and spread it over 2 to 3 years. I believe that one was 3 years. So that was paid off over 3 years. We don't have that debt anymore. But when you have a $1 million bill, you can expect to pay that in 1 year, especially from that. And your Democratic chairman, who's in the audience here, got a $125,000 payout from that $1 million. So, we can't afford to be doing that anymore. And that's why we have to spread it over the 3 years.
Look, I think when you talk about attracting businesses, it's being accessible. The government has to be accessible. We meet with folks. We were so aggressive that I came out of retirement and worked and ended up joining the men's league for Royal Coffee on their ice hockey team. So we'll go through any extent to make sure that we can attract businesses here.
I just want to make one point. Our Democratic chair never worked in South Plainfield. So I don't know how he got paid off.
He's not the Democratic chairman. I feel like we kind of lost the, now I have 10 seconds. We are, as I said before, open to all available resources. We're going to reach out to business owners. We're going to talk to anybody who's an expert in the field.
All right, I've got a question now for the Democrats. Again, we'll stay within the same topic. How does your educational background and work experience qualify you to find, cultivate, and convince commercial enterprises to come to South Plainfield? It was actually, but this was directed to the Democrat.
Well, working in education, we're very comfortable, Sandy and I, working in the public eye. We have a lot of contacts in a lot of different positions. We're used to dealing with all kinds of personalities. So in that sense, we do have some of the skill set that is transferable to working with a variety of people, with businesses, with education. We both have college degrees. We both have been working in the same position for a long time. Sherry is a small business owner, so I would imagine that she has a ton of experience in that regard.
I've also been a part of our family business for over 30 years. I know what it's like to have, we owned a store in Plainfield. We sold it and my husband moved the business, but my entire life, my parents always had business. Our family has always been in business. And I've always worked and shopped to keep businesses going here in South Plainfield. And I think it's really important that we do something to promote the businesses and try and get as many as we can here. And I know Chick-fil-A is coming, but Hobby Lobby's going. So, you know, so here we are.
So it's going to be a little repetitive, but as I said, I work for corporate America in my second full-time job. About $2 billion a month revenue. So I deal with everyone from CEOs to new graduates right up from college and working in the business world. Also, with the help of Councilman White, we are continuously meeting with business owners, prospective business owners, current business owners looking to come into South Plainfield. Story I was telling you, as I met with a company, Royal Coffee, which is a huge addition to town several years ago. I ended up playing ice hockey on their team as part of that deal. But seriously, what we're looking to do is continue to work with business. Our number one job, as I view as a mayor of a municipality, is to represent all of you. And I represent all of you in front of prospective business owners, current business owners, to keep and retain and attract them every single day. Do I have more time?
Okay, so we haven't heard from both mayoral candidates enough, but we do have some questions targeted just to them, so that I'm going to ask a couple of those back to back. For Mrs. Doyen, how do you plan on balancing your duties as mayor with your position as a full-time first grade teacher? Both are demanding and important positions.
Well, the school that I work in is right here in South Plainfield, Kennedy School. It's about 4 minutes from the municipal building. I have balanced and managed to do my job as a first grade teacher and be the vice president of the South Plainfield Education Association, which is another full-time job. And I've been able to do that successfully in both places. I'm not in New York City. If you need me, I can be here in minutes. And to me, my work ethic and the energy that I put into whatever I do, it's not going to be a problem for me at all to try and do that.
You have a question for me? Because I'm not a first grade teacher, but I play one on TV.
stop on the tracks, blocking intersections, and backing up traffic all over town. And what can the borough do about it?
So as I said, I'm an operations manager. Unfortunately, perhaps Conrail should recruit me. They should recruit me, and I guarantee you the trains would not be backing up and forth and crossing or blocking the crossings. Look, I'm not an expert on Conrail. I'm sure there's very many reasons. A lot of times, like I said, unfortunately, it's poor management. It's poor management. There's a whole host of things that might be going on over there. And look, what I'll tell you is, if anybody has dealt with the railroads, and unfortunately I've dealt with them, and Council President Benjamin has dealt with them, they are the fourth arm of government. Except they are the most powerful arm of government, and they can pretty much do whatever they want. It's difficult to even improve the crossings next to them. You can't touch it. We would love to pave some of their crossings for them. We have a very capable Department of Public Works that could fix their crossings, but. There's a whole host of things. There's loads and there's deliveries back and forth. But number one, I think it's unfortunately a lack of respect for the problems that they cause by trying to get what they're doing. So, look, Council President Benjamin has reached out to Conrail. We threatened to embarrass them in public over other issues. We'll continue to do that. Unfortunately, sometimes you try and be nice. You try and reach out to the management, and you try and reach out to the folks over there and have them correct their ways. They don't always listen. But when you attempt to go public and really show them, where they're going wrong, they generally change their ways. So it's a complicated issue, but it's something that we continually look to address with not only the railroad, but all companies that are having negative impacts to the way South Plainfield operates on a daily basis.
Thank you. Okay. This is a question for everyone. What can you do to get rid of the overnight truck idling on residential areas? For example, lot for just packaging on Oak Tree Ave by Puha Road. They must have trucks that idle. It was a question for both parties. So somebody can...
We do have a no idling law in effect, but I believe that if it's a refrigerator truck, they can't shut the refrigerator truck off. They need to have the vehicle idling to keep the refrigeration going. So I'm not sure of the details of this particular trucks, but if they are idling and they're not refrigerator trucks, in theory, you can call the police and they should get a ticket. I mean, that's bottom line.
No, absolutely. If it's idling, we have that 30-second idling law in town, and you can't do it with your car, you can't do it with a truck. So, if there's something, just call the non-emergency number, or call one of us, and we'll talk to code enforcement and see what we can do. But no, it's a very good question.
Mayoral questions. Joanne, all prior mayors have served on council first. Why do you feel you don't need that experience before running for mayor?
I never said that you don't need it. What I do believe is that I have experience in so many areas that are transferable to being a mayor and to being a successful mayor. I have a lot of experience working with people. I have a lot of experience in relations, in business relations. I've been in management positions. I've been in business positions. I've owned a business. I work every day speaking with people, teaching children. And I understand more than a lot of people know what parents are thinking in this district, in this borough. People talk to me daily about what their issues are and what their problems are. And I talk to them about it, and I understand what they want us to do. I think it's wonderful. I happen to be at a point in my life right now that I have the time, the energy, and I'm able to do this. Prior to this, I had some personal family issues that kept me away from politics. And I'm going to be honest with you, the discussion of running for mayor has gone on in my house for the past 20 years. However, it wasn't supposed to be me running, it was supposed to be my son running. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and do it. And do I think I'm qualified? Yes, I do.
Okay, Mayor Nash, when you found out that PSE&G was going to install new gas mains, why did you push through the paving of many of these roads that are now going to be ripped up? For example, Front Street, parts of South Plainfield Avenue, etc.
Yeah, well, it's just not true. So we didn't push for any roads with knowledge that PSE&G was doing any work. In fact, if you look at the track record when the water company was coming in, we met extensively with the Middlesex Water. We planned out exactly which roads that they were doing and which roads that the borough would then pave that weren't going to be affected. Now, again, there's been a lot of federal dollars that are being thrown around at the utilities, and so they're doing work, and sometimes they're doing that work faster than even they intended on doing. So the roads aren't being done. But also, a couple years ago, we did pass an ordinance that helped us address these issues. So number one, there's a 5-year moratorium. Anytime a utility comes in and rips up a road that was just paved within the last 5 years, they're going to go and replace that. In addition, any of this trench work that's being done to replace pipes, which again, we welcome. But the last thing you want is to look at some of these communities where you see, bursting water mains, God forbid, bursting gas mains. If the work needs to be done, let the utilities do it. But we put the ordinance in effect that prevented them from just leaving those unsightly trenches that you saw along the sides of your roads. Now when they come in, they are required to pave half the road. We don't want to leave a half a road paved in South Plainfield. So very simply what we do is we work with the utility companies. We find out exactly how many linear feet of roads that they disrupted, and we will work with them to pave certain roads, and we'll pave the other half roads. And that's why this year we had the most roads paved in the history of South Plainfield. So we welcome the work. If and when it does interfere with work that was previously done, because again, we can't be mind readers. All of the utilities have our numbers, they know where we're at, but if they do something where they shouldn't have, if they haven't planned ahead and haven't given the borough notice, we have measures in place to address them.
Okay, so this is a question for the council candidates only. It says council on the top, so no mayor answering. The truck route is not consistently enforced. What can you and will you do to fix it? So we'll start with the Republicans, but then we want to hear from the Democrats as well.
Probably one of the biggest things, well, one of the things we're waiting for is the county to come in and put in the truck route signs. It was promised a while back. I believe they put up the stands or the poles for the signs, but now we have to get the signs. I think they run across Hamilton. So that'll be one thing we have to do. The other thing is we've had discussion with Hall's Trucking to get them to lead their drivers away from, onto the truck route and away from the residential areas. So that's one of the things, another thing that we're doing. Trucks are going to make local deliveries, so if they're local, there's not much more you can do about them, but they are supposed to stay on truck routes. Another thing that we're looking into, and one of the problems that we have, is the GPS, the navigation systems that the trucks are using. They're not always following the truck routes themselves, and I've called up Garmin and a couple other ones. Unfortunately, there's not just one GPS system that you can say, look, this is the truck route, and that's what you should use. But
and our police department does routine details of pulling over trucks that venture onto Hamilton Boulevard. I mean, I want to thank our police department for taking the time and putting a detail on there specifically for that. We have a big town, and they do a great job. And every time, 90% of the time I go out there and see a truck pulled over, I say, good job, guys. Just to clarify real quick on the PSE&G stuff. The one road, only one section of South Plainfield Avenue between Front and Hamilton is PSE&G coming back and doing. And guess what? They're going to have to repave the whole thing. So, you know what? If they're going to do it, they're going to have to repave it. It's not our tax dollars. It's their money. They need to do it, and we've addressed that with them. So, just wanted to clarify.
Hi. Well, we basically have the same plan. Pass an ordinance to eliminate trucks on Front Street and to basically put up the signs that the county is supposed to be putting up. So, like you said, there's already a designated truck route. It's just really not being enforced the way it should be. And we would really like, for the police to, to work with the truck drivers and just tell them, like, look, this is now the truck route. You have to, follow it or you're going to get a ticket. And, we understand that the GPSs are a problem, and sometimes they just don't take you where you're supposed to go. So we want to work with the police and make sure that they don't constantly keep giving people tickets and just guide them directly where they're supposed to be going in the future.
Okay, so this is a question for both parties, but we'll start with the Democrats. Why can't the municipalities have more influence over the Board of Ed taxes? And also, how do we control the amount of unnecessary municipal spending without looking at all options? How do we control the amount of unnecessary municipal spending without looking at all options?
Well, first off, the Board of Education budget is a separate entity from ours, from the municipal budget. So we can't directly do a whole lot with what their budget is, what they're using their funds for. As far as unnecessary spending in the municipality, everything should be looked at. And one thing we want to have is have more community involvement. And when we're talking about bigger ticket items, having things reinstalling or reinstating Democracy Day, where people can have a chance to have a non-binding referendum and share their ideas and decide whether or not things should be spent.
So I agree, the Board of Education and the municipal government are two separate government entities. And there's really not much you can do there except for the Board of Education. You have to contact them. But on the municipal side, we've been able to keep taxes flat for the second consecutive year, and sewer rates have been flat for 6 consecutive years. Some of the things that we've looked at as far as expenses and stuff like that, we brought in-house our engineering services, and by doing that, we saved over $100,000 in that department. We brought in our electrical inspections. That alone saved us about $90,000. So sometimes bringing things back in-house save the borough money, and we need to work with ways to continue to come up with innovative ways to save money. We work well with our unions to negotiate contracts that stay within the 2% cap, and I want to thank them for their cooperation too.
And I see I have no time. Watch it.
Okay, I have a question for the Republicans, and I apologize because we're going back to the alternate truck route, or to trucks in general. Since your announcement of meeting with Congressman Pallone about the alternate truck route, what is the status?
So we met with Congressman Pallone. By the way, we also met with Senator Menendez several years ago at the League of Municipalities and apprised both of them on the project. The meeting with Senator Congressman Pallone, number one, was to make sure that he was comfortable with the project. Anybody who knows Congressman Pallone knows that he is an environmentalist, true and true. So this is an area, again, even though that when we changed direction, moved from Helen Street to Hollywood Avenue, we have much less impact on wetlands. There still is some wetlands impact. The biggest thing, this is a project that, again, has gone over 20 years where it went essentially nowhere. A day after Election Day several years ago, unfortunately, the former mayor came to the borough governing body and said that, oh, by the way, our clocks run out, and Helen Street is now either you pay $600,000, $700,000 or several $1 million in fees and keep the project going, or you abandon it. So we set that committee in motion, and they've done a lot of great work. We got the permit, which was a very difficult thing to do. So with Congressman Pallone, he's looking at federal funding. That's the number one issue he's looking at. Now, some of the funding he was looking at originally was some of the funding that gets us through the final engineering work that gets us to the point where we can go out for a bid specification project. This is going to be probably a $20 to $30 million project. By the way, Democracy Day is not dead. We used it for the $5 million proposed library, which, that's a different issue. This is something that most likely, if we don't get enough federal funding, will come to Democracy Day. That's looking years down the road. But Congressman Pallone, unfortunately, wasn't able to get us any additional funding for the engineering work. He's still looking at additional funding to get the bulk of the project. And by the way, we're also working with the trucking companies, private industry, to also fund that.
Okay, so I know that there was a meeting with Congressman Pallone. I recently met with him myself. And I do know from Congressman Pallone and from his administrative office that they have tried to contact you at least 4 times and they have never heard back from you. This came directly from Congressman Pallone's office this week, and I don't know why, but they called the wrong number. That's what they said from Piscataway too. I guess everybody has our wrong number. I don't know. Telling you, Congressman Pallone said that he did. Yes, you can.
So number one, I think I have 4 personal email addresses, a borough email address. I have a cell phone, home phone. You can even call my wife. I have a secretary at Borough Hall, and I have a Borough Hall phone. Not one of those. My secretary's here. You can ask her if she's heard anything from Congressman Pallone this week. I certainly haven't. There's not one email. There's not one text message. There's not one voicemail anywhere from his office. Shocking. When we wanted to reach out to him and meet to go over this project, he met with us at Borough Hall. In fact, it was one of the budget sessions in Congress where he was up all night, hopped on an Amtrak, and came to meet me. Now all of a sudden he doesn't know how to get a hold of me. Wow. It is election season, guys.
Okay. This is a question for Mrs. Doyen. It has been stated that the current mayor and council have made decisions considered to be wasteful spending. Can you name 3 things that are considered wasteful? And then a follow-up question: do you consider widening Maple Ave and Park Avenue wasteful? Why or why not?
Yeah, I'd like to. Okay, I've never said in a press release or anything else that I considered wasteful spending. That I have talked about debt and borrowing, but not wasteful spending. And I really don't. I do think that some of the roads need to be widened. I do. But it was never Maple Avenue. It was by Quick Check over on Sampton Avenue so that cars can get around. And it was a designated left on Helen Street, but I don't remember asking to widen Maple Avenue. Never heard of it.
I didn't hear any wasteful spending, but I can tell you before I became mayor, I can tell you a couple of things that were wasteful spending. $500,000 for a library, land purchased for a library that, oh, by the way, after we spent $500,000, they decided that there was a retention pond. You'd have 4 parking spaces for the library, and they abandoned the whole project, and it would cost you $5 million. We had the library done, expanded, doubled in size, more programs, more patrons, for nothing, not 1 penny out of your pocket. Another one, $700,000 for the suburban bus terminal. They said, don't worry about that. By the way, there was a hold harmless agreement signed by a former mayor, not authorized by the governing body at the time. Cost us $700,000, $300,000 more to clean it up, and nothing there. Well, now you see that when I ran first for council, I was criticized of a dog park. The dog park's there. Oh, and by the way, a discrimination lawsuit filed by a former councilwoman who was denied a job from the borough because they were meeting outside of Borough Hall and denied her employment.
Okay, this is a question for the Republicans. In one of Mrs. Doyen's releases, it says that we pay a separate library tax. Can you explain what it is and why it's separate?
Okay, the library tax has always been in our budget. It was together in a municipal tax. Now it's separated. It was required to be separated in 2011. Simple as that. Nothing's changed other than it's been separated from being on one line to now two lines.
Yeah, if you look at the budgetary sheet, every year we fund about $1.23 million to the library. That's been like that since the incorporation of, not the dollar amount, but that's been like that way since the incorporation of the Borough of South Plainfield. In 2011, a bill sponsored by Senator Dignan, at the time Assemblyman, was to be more transparent on the tax bills and separate that dollar amount on there. But it's always part of our budget hearings. You would know that. I mean, I encourage you next year to come to a budget hearing because you would know that we talk about these types of things. You know, being involved and getting to know this stuff, you need to have your facts right because this has always been funded. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what to say.
Look, number one, it's either reckless or it's ignorant. If you look at that release, it says that there's a separate tax and there's some devious scheme to, to get the library done essentially and charge a separate tax. Here's the local finance notice from 2011. By the way, this took about 35 seconds to find searching on Google. You want to run the borough? How do you not find a local finance notice? And by the way, let me read it from you. It does not result in any increased taxes, but changes the way the minimum library appropriation is displayed to the public. Right here. Their party has a state senator who, by the way, voted for this, and they're putting out misleading information to you on their weekly releases. What does transparency in government really mean if you can't find a local finance notice and you come up with schemes like that? It's shameful, unfortunately.
Well, I will tell you, it's either shameful, or what else did you call me? What was the other thing you said? Okay. Well, whatever it was. Ignorant. Okay, well, first of all, I'm not ignorant. Second of all, you know what? I'm going to say something that none of you will ever say. I made a mistake. I made a mistake, and after I looked into it and I read the things, and I know now that it's their part of the line item. So I made a mistake. I made a culpa. I said it, but don't talk to me about transparency because there is no transparency. There's none. We have meetings when the councilmen don't even get packets till Friday when the meeting's on Monday. Nobody can look at what's going on because everything is just given on. You have no time. It's on a weekend. That's one thing. Excuse me. No, it's not in the Observer. It's the councilman, not mine.
They made the same mistake last campaign.
Okay, so this is a question to council or to candidate Doyen. If elected, how will you bring more transparency to the office and to the residents?
Okay, first of all, as I was just saying, I think that the council should get packets of information in a more timely manner so that they can go through everything and see exactly how they want to vote. I also think that we should separate, and I know people may not like the idea, the agenda setting meeting from the public meeting, so that if something comes up, there's time for the public to hear about it and the public to come out and talk about it. Because things just happen and then it's voted on. 6 o'clock it goes on, or 7 o'clock it goes on, and 8 o'clock it gets voted on. I think that we need to let the public know, let them be involved in what's going on. I also think that we need to let the public be more aware of the stuff that's going on. I feel like things are just happening in back rooms, and people need to know.
I find it a little funny that I get my packet on Friday, Joe gets his packet on Friday, everybody gets their packet on Friday. In fact, when you said your Democratic chairman didn't work for the town, he was our clerk. I got my packet on Friday when he was the clerk. So, I mean, I don't understand that, but I called John, I called Gary. I mean, we are in communication, but to say that we don't get your packet until Friday, that's been the case. Also, during the time under the Democrats, the agenda session and the regular session were held on the same night. We separated it out in 2008. In 2009, they went back to the format of having it before the council meeting. So you can't keep jumbling back and forth and confusing the public. So no, I'm saying you can't be separating meetings and going back to having them together. Separating it just confuses the residents. So.
Question for the Republicans, and this is for everybody so the mayor can answer the question as well. You speak often of the low tax rate in South Plainfield frequently, which is wonderful. However, there are so many amenities in town that require upgrades and maintenance. The pool still needs tons of work, and a lot of our parks are falling apart. Just to name a few.
I just want to know who wants our taxes increased, because I sure don't. I want to keep our tax rate as low as possible and keep it as reasonable as possible. As far as the parks, we just doubled the size of Willow Street Park. We have a new all-inclusive playground there. We've increased our recreation program. We put new mats in the PAL, new wrestling and cheerleading mats. We put a new gym floor in the gym. We've improved the bathrooms, and we've even put a new fence on the pool. So we've done a lot of improvements, yet keep our tax rate down. I've heard some mention at some council meetings that maybe we should spend more money. I don't want to pay more taxes. I want to keep our taxes up. Right now, we're the 5th lowest borough in the county with our taxes. So our taxes are very, very reasonable. I want to keep them that way. And we are doing things. We are improving things. I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, we need to always look for innovative ways to reinvest back into our hometown. And at the same time, keeping taxes stable and holding the line on them so that it's affordable for the families to be here and play in the parks. Each year, you can't do it all in one year, but each year we try to go around and work with the Recreation Commission, who does a great job on making sure that our parks are up to date. It can't happen in one year. We have 4 or 5 pocket parks and a main park over with Putnam Park, but they work diligently and meet every month to make sure that our programs, our parks, and our facilities are up to date, and we are able to give them the finances and the help on a yearly basis that's adequate enough to hold down our taxes. So I want to thank them also for all the hard work that they do at the Recreation Commission.
As I see, I have 5 seconds, so I have nothing.
Okay, one thing I just want to mention again is we keep going back to what happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what the Democrats did before. I didn't even live here 10 years ago, so I feel like I couldn't have had much say in what happened there. As far as the parks go, I have a binder here with some photos of some of the parks that could definitely use some improvements. In Shadyside Park, there's old broken concrete benches that are dangerous. The play area is not maintained. We were just going door to door in that neighborhood last weekend, I believe it was. There's an old swing set that needs to be replaced. Sidewalks in disrepair. In Veterans Memorial Park, there's benches that should be replaced. The grills are rusty and should be replaced. I have photos of all of this if anybody would like to see it at the end. Putnam Street Park, parts of the fence are rusty and need to be repaired. The swing set should be addressed and looked at because parts of it has rust on it. The basketball courts need an upgrade. Benches need repair. There are some potholes, and I'm almost out of time. But Cotton Street Park also has no place to park. There's basketball court in need of repair.
I have a question for Mrs. Goyen. We'll ask it this way. Would you resign your position as vice president of the teachers union if elected mayor of South Plainfield?
The answer is yes. I don't believe that I wouldn't do anything that would be perceived as a conflict of interest. I have been on negotiating team. Those are things that I would not do. It wouldn't be fair to the taxpayer, and I certainly wouldn't have the time to devote. It's a job that the members deserve somebody that can work for them full time, and I wouldn't have that time to give them.
Okay, I have a question for the Republicans. What is being done to address some of the recycling issues we've experienced lately?
First, I want to thank Councilman John Dean for taking the lead on this with his committee. There are some challenges out there with recycling as far as the market goes. I have a little experience in that, and John has recognized and has answered a lot of questions for the residents as far as the issues that are happening in town. He suggested, and we agreed, that we should go out for bid. The contract ends in March, and that we should go out to bid for services as well. So we're in the process of putting bid specs together to see what kind of bids we have come in and see how we can address it. But Alice Temple has been working with him and everybody to try to address these issues. But that market itself is a challenge.
So there's a couple of issues, and part of it, besides the normal broken glasses, missed pickups and stuff like that, can be addressed. And to Councilman Dean's credit, if we're going out to bid like we had done in the past, we can kind of control the penalties that we assess on whomever we award that contract to. So that certainly can be done. Unfortunately, also what the residents now have to do is, because of the weakness in the recyclable market, like Council President Benjamin has said, what you're seeing is a lot of these companies who were lax on the rules are now being much more critical in enforcing those. So that means not putting your recyclables in hefty bags and leaving them at the curb. You got to have them in blue recyclable containers. Unfortunately, you're going to have to follow every rule that's in the guide that you get, because these companies realize that the market's not there. They don't want to pick up stuff that they can't get rid of, and they'll use every excuse that they have with them not to do that. So put your stuff out, make sure you're following the rules, and hopefully as we go out to bid and we see what comes back, we're going to put a lot more controls that the county doesn't have in their contract, and hopefully improve the process and the service.
Okay, so I'm being told that I can only ask one more question. So this is a question for every candidate. We'll just go down the line from one end to the other. Yes or no, did you vote every year for the last 5 years in the general election?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's a bipartisan.
Yes.
Okay, so at this time we're going to start our closing statements, and so because of the coin toss, you are going last.
2 minutes. Well, I'd like to thank all of those who took their time out of their busy schedules to be with us here tonight. The ability to meet and hear from your candidates for mayor and council is vital to the election process. When I decided to run for mayor, I knew personal sacrifices would be required. The decision to run would not only be mine, but that of my family as well. Pursuing re-election has not been different. I could not perform the duties of the office nor seek re-election without the support from my wife Kimberly or my sons Joseph and Harrison. As you decide whom you will support on Election Day, I simply ask that you look at our record. Borough finances are stronger than they were when we took office, with the municipal tax rate that is lower than it was in 2009. You don't have to take my word for it. The financial community reaffirmed South Plainfield's AA rating recently and called our finances strong and stable. While keeping a keen focus on borough finances, we must continue to invest in our community with improvements to the PAL, the senior center, and the community pool all done. Important investments made in public safety, from new leadership in our Office of Emergency Management, to police cars, equipment, new K-9 unit, to a much-needed new fire department ladder truck, pushed off in a prior administration. We made sure services didn't suffer by taking a hard look at all services contracted out by prior administrations and bringing them in-house at considerable savings while increasing service where that made sense. Bulk pickups, once determined by a schedule derived at Borough Hall, are now scheduled upon resident request. And we can't forget the past promises of prior administrations of a new library. It has truly become a jewel for the community, with an increase in annual resident visits and additional programs for children and the community. Also to the expanded Willow Park, complete with accessible play structures. Tonight, I ask for your vote and your support. In return, my promise to you is simple. I'm committed to ensuring South Plainfield remains the most desirable place to raise our families.
First off, I want to thank Nancy, the Observer, and Suzanne for putting on tonight's event, and most importantly, thank you everyone for coming. In the time I've been on council, I focused much of my time working with others and looking for ways to make things better for taxpayers. But it's not just me. This is something the whole council has been working together as a team. Here are a few examples. Working with our library board, we doubled the size of the library and expanded Willow Park. Working with our Recreation Commission, we added lights to Memorial Field. We have a new gym floor, new wrestling and cheer mats, and more. Working with our public safety departments, we have a new fire ladder truck, new police vehicles, technology has increased, and a K-9 unit. Working with our school board, we hired additional school resource officers, and soon with the help of the county, we will see a pedestrian hybrid crossing installed on Maple Avenue from the POW to Spring Lake Park. Working with our department heads, we kept municipal taxes flat for the second consecutive year and sewer rates flat for 6 consecutive years. And the list goes on. Thank you to everyone who helps get it done for South Plainfield. This is how things should run, and I want to continue to get results for you and your family. I grew up in South Plainfield, decided to make it my home, and in about 5 weeks, my beautiful wife, who's in the front row, and I will be welcoming baby Benji into the world. Finally, I want the best community for our children and our families. That's why I'd like the opportunity to continue to build on the success that we have seen in the past few years and continue to serve everyone who calls South Plainfield home. I hope to earn your support on Election Day. Thank you.
Like me, everyone up here is asking for your vote on Election Day. If I'm fortunate enough to earn it, I want you to know what you're getting. You're getting someone with experience who is willing to roll up his sleeves and work. You'll also be getting someone who is invested in South Plainfield. I raised my family here, coached soccer, baseball here, and worked for a better South Plainfield throughout the last 3 years. I'm committed to helping move our town forward. Finally, if you place your trust in me, you will also get someone who shares your priorities. My top priorities are to keep South Plainfield affordable, bring in business, and continue to invest in our hometown. Yes, there are lots of things we can do beyond this, but I don't think any are more important. Unlike a lot of people running for office, Matt, Robert, and I don't make a lot of promises. It's easy to make promises, but hard to deliver on them. The only promise I will make is this: you can count on me. It's that simple. You can count on me. Thank you, and I hope to earn your vote on Election Day.
I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight and listening to us. If you're looking for real change in South Plainfield, then vote for Sandy Doyen, Christine Keefe, and me, Sherry Workup.
Thank you, the South Plainfield Observer, the South Plainfield Business Association, and all of you for coming and taking a longer than maybe you had expected evening with us. I hope you got to know us a little better. Please feel free to continue to reach out for us. I live here as everyone else does. I'm raising my family here, and I'm looking to make it better. No matter what, there's always ways to improve, and we should always be examining every possible way to do that. And just congratulating ourselves on what has already been done is not always enough. You have to take it a step forward. You should always be looking to improve and make things better. That's why if you're looking for a real change in South Plainfield, you should vote for Sandy, Sherry, and I.
Thank you, and I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I really want to thank my husband, Tom, for today is our 37th wedding anniversary, and he sent me beautiful flowers, and I brought him to the debate, so there you go. It is an honor for me to be up here running for mayor of South Plainfield. This community is a community that I love, that I will work for, and I will do anything for. I do believe that we need to bring some more community back into our community. And by that, I mean we need people helping people. And I just think we're kind of getting away from that all over. But in South Plainfield, it's always been a community that helps each other and that reaches out. I'd love to see us doing something to bring, if I was not working, I would be probably a very active member here at the Senior Center. However, I'm still working, and so I just don't have that time. But I would love to see that our high school children that need community service hours partnering with seniors to do people helping people. I would love to see some more things where the community is involved and gets, without having to pay for it, but just doing things for each other. I respect the fact everybody that's up here, I know everybody here loves this town and wants the best. We all want the best. But we always know that we can do better. And there are things that, as good of a job as they say we're doing, I still believe that we can do more. And with your help, I would love to see Sherry and Christine and I the opportunity to bring South Plainfield in a new perspective and in a direction. And we appreciate your being here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for attending, and this now closes the meeting. She went on 10 miles tonight going back and forth, okay? I want to thank all my volunteers from the Business Association and the Observer. Next one. Who didn't have everybody all did very well as far as your Oh, that's on. And there's cookies and desserts in the back. And I want to thank everybody that came out tonight and your good questions. Thank you.